And now, stand and cheer for your... Well, I was going to say the BBL Weekly, but we don't know what it's called.
I don't know what we're going to call it. Welcome if you haven't joined us before. We don't normally do that. I am Mark.
I am Paul, and I screwed up there because I just went to go
Basketball
BBL
podcast.
Weekly, and then I was like, what
are
the
we gonna call it?
BBL Weekly.
Yeah, we don't have a name yet. That's the part of the thing, isn't it? We don't have a name. But we're going to crack straight into it. So there's been lots of announcements today. It is the 31st of July. And a lot of people have been wondering what's going on. And for the catch up for those who haven't heard it or don't know, the British Basketball
This
League...
just in.
What?
What are you about to say?
Well, the British Basketball League, back in June, 14th of June, it just all got... That's it. Game over.
No, God!
That was it?
No!
I'm afraid so.
Please, no!
Yep.
No!
Yep.
No!
Absolutely.
No!
So the league got pulled and the license for running the league got taken away, and there's lots of things going on in the background. No one knew what was going on. We all knew that there was going to be a league, but no one had it announced. And then fast forward to when they did make the announcement saying there's going to be something called, it's owned by the company called the Premier Basketball League. So that's the new entity in the UK, the Premier Basketball League
And
Limited.
that's where we got to in the last episode where I said they might as well call it the Premier Basketball League or the National Basketball League.
Absolutely. But one thing we didn't know, which is kind of an important thing, was what teams are actually in this league. Now, what the company who are sort of like owned by a consortium of teams, and that consortium of teams includes the Newcastle Eagles, Leicester Riders, Sheffield Sharks, and our good friends Caledonia Gladiators.
Yeah.
Come on. I was waiting for you to think of it.
Sorry, I wondered why you suddenly stopped.
No, so those are the teams. They were all made up of the main group. We also have Bristol Flyers in there as well. But no one really knew what was happening with some of the other teams. So fast forward today, we've had, I'd say, 3 big announcements really in terms of British basketball, sort of domestic leagues, I think it's fair to say.
Well, let's... where do you want to start?
I think let's go with the blanket announcement. I know that's Paul's favourite. He always loves a blanket announcement. 4 teams have all put out a notice.
All the same wording. It's just like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It just says the teams don't have their own voice. That's what it says to me. But I've been quite vocal this before in the BBL, where it just seems like the same stance has continued on, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, look, we don't need to keep going on about that. I'm not a fan of the exact same wording with the exception of the club. Like, I bet someone writes it, then sends it out and write insert club name here or something.
So I'm going to read it out.
Oh, hang on. This just in. Oh, hang on. No, we want this.
Do you want what? Oh, you got to start it.
Oh, you haven't done the bloody...
Ominous.
This just in.
Since the announcement of the new professional league in British basketball, the club consortia have been working diligently to ensure the launch of a new season by the end of August 2024. So that's when they're planning to launch
3
it.
weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks away.
Exactly. To the end, we expect to make several key announcements that will satisfy the fan base up and down the country, and return to top flight basketball is in hand. It is expected that the new league name will be announced in the coming days, and that will be followed by some exciting news on how the league will operate and commercial partnerships as soon as the details are completed. Further to this, communication will come regarding the direction of the league, the 2024-25 season, the number of franchises, and our new media deal. As clubs begin to announce new signings, further developments include the commitment to move forward with a strategic growth plan which has been agreed by all parties. The overall desire is to grow the league and the sport commercially, and will result in increased franchise areas over a medium-term period. This new season will not only see the return to elite basketball, but return to European competition for many of our teams, with plans to expand that participation in the season to follow. The club consortia appreciate the patience of their fans during this difficult process, but we look forward to rewarding you all with exciting season
Why
ahead.
did you say that in like that?
Because
You
it's
said,
just, it's like, that last sentence, I hate
That's
it.
that is,
That's the punch that is actually a punch in the face to every fan, because it's literally the same as someone going, "Your call is important to us. Please hold the line." That's literally what it said. And this information has given us nothing.
Yeah, if I had a season ticket, I wouldn't be renewing until I get that information. Where
So what happens if you have renewed a season ticket? Because there are people who've actually bought a season ticket from London Lions.
The season's happening. Oh, I couldn't tell you if we don't know what's going on with those clubs, and that probably is your second point or third point. What I would say is, we said this in the last episode, that this breakaway league happened so they could get the license, which they did, and then we said, this is probably skipping a little bit, but we think some of the teams might do the same thing to get into this new league. The only thing I would say, and you should feel this as well, based on our conversation with Paul Blake on one of our episodes. You hadn't heard it, go back and have a listen to it.
Sent me an email today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is that something?
No, we can talk about it off air.
Okay. Nothing. Okay. Talking to him, he is a businessman who's switched on, and because he is involved in that consortium, that gives me faith that what is around the corner is going to be good. I might be a little bit biased because the Newcastle Eagles, Paul Blake, that organisation have been very kind to me. So I might be a little bit biased here. But taking that away, just by meeting Paul Blake, I'm apprehensive, but I'm also excited for what he's going to be part of bringing to the British basketball scene.
So I do know on reasonable authority that Lisa Knights is the lady who is in charge of a lot of this communication that we will be receiving from the league going forward.
Oh, look, we know it's the same person doing all this stuff. You can tell
of course.
by
Of course, because it's all from the consortia.
Yeah.
So Lisa Knights is the CEO of Bristol Flyers Basketball and the media associated there. But her background, Lisa's background itself, I mean, Lisa, we'd love to have you on the show anyway, just to talk through her history, because in sports and her association with media and stuff, she's been at it for years and years and years. So, you've got someone really tenured and really experienced there. So that to me, I won't say throws not an alarm bell, but actually throws a positive. And the reason I say this is because everyone can agree the communication so far has been pants. And when you've got someone who's that experienced and knows what they're doing, they will be sitting there now going, we need to talk to the fans. We need to do something.
Well, it's basic marketing. You want to build it up, don't
Exactly. You? So if they are not doing that, there are probably legal reasons or other reasons why they fit.
Of course, their hands are tied.
Exactly. So they are. So I actually, as soon as you realise those sort of things, that's where a lot of the fans won't get the disconnect. But like you've just said, basketball and all these teams, it's a business.
Yeah.
And if you take the step back and you go, this is a business, they have to operate legally and they have to do things the proper way.
Well, look, I've got an example for you right here. Jalen Hunter, he's an American guy, plays guard, number 12, just been signed by the Leicester Riders.
Yep.
Look, they're not signing this guy from the States.
No.
If they're not playing the season and they're not going to be trying to compete. They're not signing this guy if they're playing with 5-6 teams, are they?
No.
So, I'm optimistic. And like I said, my conversation with Paul Blake, I have faith in what he's part of.
Because they want to do sustainable basketball.
We just need to get there, don't we?
Yeah. See, the big problem I see with this, the problem that they've had and the problem that they're having to deal with, it's a case of you can't change the history. There's nothing you can do about it. They don't dwell on it. But at the same time, literally every single day, they don't even announce the name of it. Even if they said, we don't know what the name of the league's going to be.
I think that's coming out in a few days.
That's what it said. But the problem is to have the timeline between this is what we're working on, when they made that a new announcement, like here's the Premier League thing, this is what we're going to do, you would have thought they would make some announcements between now and then, and it's just been quiet.
Well, they're like that signing by Leicester. So there are, but look, in the old
I'm happy
BBL,
to play good cop, bad cop. You can be good cop, I will be bad cop.
In the BBL, some of the teams aren't great with their marketing anyway. They're not great on social media.
I mean, they can give me a call, I can help them out. But I'm just saying, a lot of those teams have been making these announcements, and you go, this is great. And if you look down any of the comment sections, 2, 3, 4 comments in, you'll always get, is there a league? When you come in, what's the roster? Who else is playing? Caledonia literally put something out today, and it said, here's the people who are confirmed for next year. And there's 4 names on it. It said, how are we doing? Now, I like Caledonia, and you put those names out there and you go, oh yeah, Patrick Williams, they've secured him again, that's great. But if you announce 4 players, you'd want to be thinking, okay. Now, this takes me back to our conversation with Dale. I remember what you was asking. Dale Fletcher. G'day, Dale. And he was saying about how difficult it is from the media point of view to have to drip feed all that's going on. So can you imagine the dilemma they have? Because they, normally if all this thing in the league hadn't happened, they'd now be drip feeding, going, here's a new signing, here's where people are going. They drip feed it. But at the moment, there's so much uncertainty. It's kind of like the league, the teams are sitting there going.
But I think it's exactly what you said. There's legality.
And there is.
They're probably, I can just see Paul Blake sitting there going, biting at the bit, going, I want to do this, and he'll be frustrated exactly like that.
So here's the other two.
But he's like, I'm stuck. I can't do until XYZ happens. But talking to some of the people we talk to around the league, it's sounding promising, though we can't go into detail of that. It's sounding promising on certain teams and stuff like that.
It is sounding promising. I think the hard bit next year is the reality. There's a lot of good players that have left.
You could arguably say your 3 best players, or well, definitely top 2 best players in the league. No, you probably could say your top 5 players have gone.
At least. We've got LaQuincy's gone, Matt Morgan's gone, Sam Decker's gone.
Josh Sharma's just gone.
Yeah. But I mean...
But again, there is exciting players coming in.
No question of that. But we don't, like with Leicester and so forth, you don't hear what's happening with Teddy Buckets, or you don't hear what's happening. It'd be nice to know those sort of things, because some of those were big fan favourites. And I think where the league needs to be is that for all of the issues or bad things that may or may not have happened, the media-wise and what they were doing last year was really good, and they were getting some energy behind it, and people were getting invested in it. In the teams and the players. Yeah.
Not really. Like, for example...
they heavily focused on London. And
the BBL,
yeah,
as far as teams are concerned, like, you might have someone who's pretty good on social media.
Yeah.
But you're still talking, like, maybe a post or 2 a week.
Oh yeah, it was light.
It's really, I don't want to use this word, but compared to it's a little lame compared to other so as an example, Plymouth Raiders, they're National League Div 3.
Yes.
But they put out more posts than BBL clubs. Portsmouth Force, National League Div 3. We put out more posts trying to market and promote awareness of the team, and the mascot's been doing it. It's the off season. Look what the mascot's doing. He's going with youth development, stuff like that, to promote the team.
All the NBL, all of the probably BE, it's fair to say. I even saw something today from Basketball Wales where they're doing some stuff as well. All of these big bits seem to be posting very, very regularly. I'm
assuming there's no one who's head of marketing, because again, there's no investment in that.
No,
you need someone. I don't know who it'd be, but someone going, right, I'm doing the marketing for the team, like training sessions coming in, but it's that continuous, oh wow, look, this is what they're doing. Oh man, look what thing you just did in training, or you're having interviews and I mean, this is standard stuff we see all the time in the NBA, and you're seeing Dallas. I'm looking at Orlando, and we see it all the time. But you just don't really get it in the UK. In the UK, it's very much, you might get one post during the week. You might get, hey, you just had a great game today, and it's all the same questions after the game.
I saw a great one from Powell. And when they were just talking about how, they've obviously won the trophy and everything. And it was just, you see all of these posts going on and you think, I might say you've got to be in it to win it. And just social media is not everything. But at the same time, it's a visual sport.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the
in the off season,
like the
you would have
content
stuff from last season highlights. Surrey Scorchers, they were posting stuff of players training in the off season.
I love that.
There weren't many, but I really liked that. Like Lord Gardner was with them as well.
Yep.
And there was a couple of one of their players, can't remember his name, but he went off and was playing with GB, and they were focusing on that on there. And
well, that was a lovely segue
into shoot.
Surrey Scorchers, you mentioned them. Not good news for the Scorchers fans. That's fair.
No, God!
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
God, please,
They're
no!
out. They're gone.
No!
So
No!
I didn't realise.
I'm not bothered by this, by the way.
Well, you say you're not bothered by it, but I think it was sad.
I'm not bothered, Mark.
And why are you not bothered?
Because we knew it was coming. Not with Surrey, but I said to you in the last BBL weekly episode, what's happened to the league where they rebrand it or refranchise it, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be doing with teams. I didn't think Surrey were going to be one of them. I just thought it would come in. However, look, this is the fourth time that franchise has folded. The TV Tigers, the Guildford Heat, the Surrey United, Surrey Scorchers now gone, and now we're looking at, Surrey 89ers.
Yeah, the 89ers.
What does 89 mean? I mean, assuming 1989.
No.
What is it?
Oh, I did some homework for you. 1889 was when Surrey and London were split as counties, and then Surrey became the county that it is today in 1889.
That's brilliant.
So it's 1889. So they are called, the Surrey 89ers, but they're known as the Niners. That's what they're known as.
Okay.
So they call themselves the Surrey Niners.
I love it.
It's great, isn't it?
I think that's brilliant.
Yep.
So, but that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. So I said to you 2 weeks ago, some of these things can happen.
I'm intrigued
Plymouth is the next one I'm waiting for.
I'm intrigued by the colour scheme that they've got, because everything's in green. Everything's in green for the 89ers.
Oh, you've seen stuff already? They're posting stuff.
Yeah, they're posting stuff already.
Are they?
Yeah.
I've seen the club's statement.
Yeah. Well, what colours?
a-
What colours the background? What colours all the stuff on?
Oh, I've seen I'm looking at Surrey Scorchers' statement.
Yep.
Um,
And then when you look at the next one, it's like, oh wow, Surrey 89ers. What colours are they doing it? What colour have they got the logos? Everything's in a sort of green.
oh,
And even when you look back at their nice little pictures and stuff, everything seems to be sort of green in the colour scheme, which I thought was
Surrey
interesting.
89ers basketball, 25 followers. Oh, there's nothing on there yet. 18 likes, 25. I wonder if that's them or not.
They've got.
Someone's just
They've had
created
one.
it.
They've had one post. That's it. They've got part there.
But again, I'm not bothered. Because look, Surrey have still got a team. Or I would assume people like Lloyd Gardner and those players are going to progress over to the Surrey 89ers.
Yep.
And that's the new GM.
Yep. Dan Clark.
So there we go.
And look, Dan Clark obviously is was he the most capped player for GB?
We need to get him on. I said
he's
to you
a massive
today.
tenure.
Let's get him on.
Manchester United, Manchester Giants. I mean, the guy's a legend.
We need to get him on.
Then he took up that role as GM for Surrey. And I think Surrey had a good season, all things considered. Some of their games were great. They just lack that little bit of depth sometimes.
Dan Clark, we need to get you on this show.
Yeah, so there's a few people who are involved in it. And again, we don't know. But what is really interesting is the way that they're talking about they have worked with the group consortium for this new league. So the fact that they've been doing that means that while all of us have sort of not known what's going on.
Oh, they're working hard in the background.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They're dying to say, right, here's the announcement.
Exactly. So, but that is the only, I mean, look, retrospect is an easy thing. We all can do that. But at the same time, it's now August. As of tomorrow, those updates need to start coming thick and fast. And I would say my concern.
I think there was a post today that said within the next few days we'd like to announce what the league's going to be called and then go from there. But yeah, look,
but that is
3 weeks.
No, that was the main statement. That was the thing. They said in the next few days we're going to give us the top. What would you call the league? Would you call it Premier?
Yeah, I'd call it the PBL, the Premier Basketball League. Follow the football standard, the Premier Football League. Or I would just call it the National Basketball League, NBL. The only challenge with that is you're competing with in other countries that call it the NBL as well. But there's lots of other countries that do that.
PNBL, Premier National Basketball League.
English Basketball League. English Basketball National League.
Because we got Caledonia. They're in Scotland. You can't call it the English League.
Oh.
Why you wouldn't do that?
The British National Basketball League. BNBL. Oh, Premier Basketball League. A lot easier, isn't it?
It is a lot easier. No question. I mean, yeah, I think that's the way they could do it. It's and then
with a logo of Colin Irish in the air doing a dunk.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Like all Charles Barkley.
That whole branding exercise they went through,
Alan
all
Cunningham
of those things,
doing a tip,
all of that media, all that stuff that they did, and some of that stuff looked really cool. There was no question of that. All of that, they're going to have to try and get away from that, or are they going to roll into it? Who knows?
would be the logo? Who would be the logo of the new Premier Basketball League?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Alan Cunningham's got to be up there.
Alan Cunningham had to be up there somewhere.
Alton Bird.
Yeah, maybe. What about the old crew cut himself? I mean, look, the thing is, would you want one that takes generations of a player?
You mean Steve Bontrager?
Yeah.
But I think it'd be good if it was someone from that generation, someone who played 20 years in the league.
Yeah.
That's why the first name I thought was is Alan Cunningham, Colin Irish. Not that I'm biased.
No. I mean, there's so many.
They wouldn't do a logo. They would do.
You could have Carl Tatum. You could have.
Yeah.
Steve Nelson.
You would go to. They're going to go to some marketing company, pay 10 grand, and they're going to write PBL. There you go, 10 grand. Cheers.
I think it does need to be something like that as a logo because it needs to be something clear. Like Jerry West, everyone knows that. Immediately,
I'd like to see something copy it, not the NBA one, but copy it with someone like Alan Cunningham, Colin Irish.
With the 3-on-3, they tried to do something creative, didn't they? With their logos and how FIBA have done that. So yeah, maybe we'll see. But again, there's a whole exercise. It's a whole thing that they've been doing.
This is all conjecture.
It's all conjecture, but at the same time, if they are bringing out a new name, if they are bringing out and they're announcing new teams and doing all that sort of stuff, can you just imagine, all those people who are involved at that level in those teams, they are paddling like crazy because they want to get a league going. Yeah. They want to get people on board. And look, it's fair to say, there's so many, every single team will have had players leave. And good caliber players, because that's
British basketball.
But it's not just British basketball in this instance, because the second that was announced, as we know with British basketball, players can be around for a year, maybe 2 years, but then they can move on. If you've been there a year and then they cancel the league, if you've had last season was very good to watch basketball wise, people in Europe are like, great, we'll snatch you up. So you've got like 10, 15 players straight out to Europe without even batting an eyelid. They've gone. Yeah. Almost all of the London team gone straight away. So you look at all of those people and you think,
do you know what would be amazing? The return of the London Towers. I played against them in National League days. That'd be great.
I mean, that was a great name as well.
They were the ones that were huge. Everyone knew the London Towers.
Yeah.
I wonder why the London Lions were lions and not towers.
Could be a trademark thing. Could be something as simple as that.
Well, look, we got 5 teams guaranteed so far.
Yeah.
With the 4, and now you got the Surrey 89ers. I love the name. I really like the name.
It's a good name. So we want to see what happens with Plymouth. We like to think that they at the moment there's nothing there, but who knows? So we'd love to see what happens with Manchester as well. Again,
Bristol.
Bristol will be in it because Bristol are also already announced in the EMBL, I think it is. So they're going to be doing some stuff in Europe.
Remember, there was an article written about, must have been 9 months ago, 10 months ago. I can't remember the name. One of the CEOs of the BBL at the time, he said, and I'm quoting him roughly, he said something like, a day doesn't go by where I don't get approached from a team
Yeah, that was Aaron, the CEO. Yeah.
to join the league. Now, in theory, I don't think this will happen, but in theory, if that is true, the PBL could be a league of 15 strong, 20 strong.
You could
If the teams are there.
if you want to get Reading, you want to get Derby in there. If they all they got to do is
Essex Rebels,
Essex. Oh yeah, have you seen their Essex's facility?
Birmingham.
Yep. Essex facility is lovely. Really, really, really nice.
But again, talking to Paul Blake
It's
6 months ago,
Yeah.
the one word he said was sustainability.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go, a mass injection of
No.
teams. I think he'll, be like,
But clubs
when
like
you're
Essex,
ready for it, you can come in.
clubs like Essex have the facility already built in there, and we know how important venue is over almost everything. Venue is key, and some of these places have the venue; it's already built in. So I think you're right. Like Derby, those sort of places, they could
Derby
easily.
Trailblazers.
Yeah,
Well, I want to say, I think it was Derby and Essex were like pretty much tied, and there was someone else just right away from them. So,
exactly.
but then you've got those, the Reading Rockets, the Birmingham Rockets. There was talk about a Glasgow team,
I'm going to go on record now. I will say, if they could somehow connected
a Welsh team.
the NBL with the PBL, if there was some way that if people have won it twice, they can get
No,
off.
they're never going to do it. So, they're never going to do it. So one of the big boy franchises gets relegated. Never going to do it.
No.
As a businessman, would you do it?
No, of course not.
I've just lost my team. Okay.
No, of course
I
not.
love the model, but
Yeah.
it'd never happen. So what was the third thing?
Well, the first thing, there was two parts, wasn't there? Because the
league,
first thing was that
and then the
Surrey went.
And you said there's three things.
Well, then instead of Surrey, there's now the 89ers.
That was the second thing.
But there's three things, aren't there? Because Surrey is gone. That's one thing.
You count that as two things?
Well, yeah, because Surrey is gone. It's not just a hot swap.
Wow.
It is actually gone.
Well, there you
So
go.
they have lost people and stuff.
There you go. So it's a show about what's going on, but we haven't really
What's going on?
telling you anything new. But
No.
look, again, I'm just gonna I'm gonna end my view that my conversation with one of the members of the consortium
Mm-hmm.
was so positive 6 months ago, 8 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
that if he's in it, if Paul Blake's in it, there's just something good coming around the corner. My only negative
Mm-hmm.
would be if we had a league with like 6 teams, 17. It'd be
What's
like,
the minimum?
oh,
What's the minimum
what's the
for you?
point?
What's the minimum? Because we had 10 last year. That's probably minimum, isn't it? You can't have less than 10 teams to call it a league, really, can you?
If they could have 15, amazing. 20, absolutely glorious. 10, okay, that's okay. Any less than 10, it's like we're really scraping the barrel here, guys. Like they could probably get away with 8, but you are scraping the barrel. As soon as you go under 8, I'm just like, you need to open it up for these clubs who could come and go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think if I'm going
But
to...
if they do that, you'll have clubs who potentially can't compete because
Yes.
they've got good players, but they're going up against teams that are spending whatever they're spending on players.
So, okay, I'm going to end on that on a pro and con as well. I'm going to start with the con and get the negative bit out of the way. I think because of the way things have transpired, however they've had to communicate or not, it just hasn't been enough. And there's quite a lot of negativity out there in the associated with the league. So they've got their work cut out to bring that into a positive light.
It's always been that negativity. It's almost
I
like
know.
there's a lot of people want to see it fail. You see it all. I was reading it today. Well, I told you that would happen 4 years ago.
That was going to do it with the nationwide league. The
it's
same
like,
thing happened with
shut
Budweiser.
up.
Yeah, I know.
Just bloody support your team and shut up, or
So-
don't follow it.
So my con on that is that a lot of the inherently I won't say not important clubs, but these clubs that are in the consortium, the ones that we believe are in the consortium, because again, it's not publicly announced, but we have a fair idea. A lot of those clubs have their own venues. So a lot of them have an inbuilt loyal fan base that most likely will still attend games. So they're okay, and they probably will still be okay and come out the other side. My concern is for those teams that don't have those sort of venues, or that doesn't have, they're playing in the league, but they don't have some skin in the game. They don't have a foot on the table, so to speak, because a lot of the other clubs don't have their own venues. They don't have that supporter base in the same way. So the question is, what a lot, and those are a lot. Moreover, those are the fans that are really, really anti the league. All the new people who come to the league are like, oh, this is a joke. So that's the negative out. I think the positive is it could only get better than this, kind of. It can only be better. I mean, you can't make up a story like the people who own the league have gone into administration. Like, you just couldn't make that up. So having a team go bust, we've seen sports teams go bust all the time. Football clubs are notorious for it. But a whole league going bust and having to close down, that's pretty unusual, isn't it? So I think, you know, the public need to have that in mind and just take a step back and go, there's legal things, there's contracts, there's business things to sort out. That it doesn't matter if you feel, oh, I should be told it. It's like, we can't talk about this because it's a legal matter. Like, it just is what it is. So
just looking it up, Derby Trailblazers, Essex Rebels, finished on 40 points. Hemel Storm, that was the other one, 38 points.
They're all competent clubs that would give
Reading
people a run for their money.
Fourth place.
Yep, they'd all give people a run for their money.
If they went up, that would have an impact on the National League One. Oh, I don't know, unless they stay in it, I don't know. It's all conjecture.
It's all conjecture, and it's all down to, like you said, if someone said to me, I'll give you 3 years that we can be sustainable for 3 years, that's at the end of the day all that anyone would have to provide the league, because they've only got a license for 3 years.
You know what? It's all set up for the return of Portsmouth to the top league.
Why not?
It's all set up.
Let's get someone like Jeff Bezos to buy the team. We'll buy a few players in.
Yeah, let's hope. Give Jeff a call, Mark. See what he says, yeah?
Yeah, well, he's not CEO now, is he? So he can't just phone the customer support line and say, can I speak to Jeff?
Jeff. Couple mil. Cheers.
Couple of mil?
Right.
More than that. But yeah, so I agree with you. I think there's positive things coming. We're going to have a league. We're just going to have to keep waiting and see. So next week, hopefully, we'll have some more information for you. But until next time, go back and check out our other episodes. We've got 136 out at the moment, and it's climbing every week. Thank you for listening. I have been Mark.
I have been Paul. And screw badminton! It's always in the back of my mind and every basketball player's mind. Screw badminton. Badminton lines and those little crappy rackets and those little shuttlecocks they have. Just burn them as well. Good night!